Hey, business owners, remember the first time you ever made a sale? You probably were excited, you saw that money come in, and after paying few expenses, you got to keep most of that money in your pocket. And you probably thought, only if I had few more sales, if only I had 20 sales a month, I would be rich. All the problems would be solved. But fast forward today, you got more sales. You probably have a revenue of $500,000, 1 million, 5 million, or even $10 million in annual revenue. But you have a problem. You still cannot find what is left over after paying your expenses. It feels like the more sales you make, the more people are lining up to take that money. And everybody is sending you an invoice, your bank account spikes in the mid-month and magically drops back down to where it was at the month end. And even if there is something left over, it feels like scraps. You're not happy. You probably made more money when you were a smaller company. And you're probably wondering, what is going on? I thought I was killing it. I was taking those big contracts. But where is all that money gone? If that sounds familiar to you, you're not alone. Because most business owners feel this at some point in time. And let's unpack what is actually going on. And today, we're going to talk about the relationship between revenue and profit. That is the real money that ends up in your pocket. Here's the truth. Revenue is very important. Without revenue, you won't have a business. But it can also be an illusion. If all you do is chase revenue, you will end up on a treadmill, running faster, working harder, and never actually getting ahead. This one time, I asked my competitor how his business was doing. He bragged. He told that we are on track to $5 million this year. I got this contract for a few $1,000,000. I got this contract for $100,000. But then I asked him a question. What is your bottom line? What is your profit? And I'll tell you, he couldn't answer it because he was caught up in this vanity number called revenue. Because he was very happy to boast about how much money he's bringing in, how much business he's getting in. But he doesn't know how this revenue translates into real wealth. And the truth about small business is, wealth is not built with revenue. Wealth is built on valuation. And valuation comes from profit. In fact, I've seen companies do $5 million in revenue worth less than business that is doing $1 million because the smaller company was more profitable. So think about Tesla versus Toyota. Tesla sells way fewer cars than Toyota, but its valuation has been much higher. It isn't because of just revenue, because of profits, systems, and future potential to grow. So there are a lot of things that affect a valuation of a company, more than just revenue. So let's break it down. Revenue is what comes in. Profit is what stays after all expenses paid. This sounds very simple, but here is where business owners get all things mixed up. Because not all expenses are the same. There are some expenses that you should cut, and there are some expenses that you want to maintain to provide a higher quality of service. So for example, your direct expenses, the stuff that you have to spend to deliver your product or your services. On the other hand, there is overhead, that's indirect cost. The cost to keep your business legit, like say for example, your rent, your admin staff, your bookkeeper, software, internet, those are different kind of costs. When you're small, you mostly deal with direct costs. But as you grow further as a business, your overhead piles on. And suddenly, it feels like money is flying out of the door before you ever touch it. I spoke to a massage spa owner in New Jersey. He owns a massage spa with 8 massage therapists, thousands of clients, and he has huge overhead. On paper, it looked great. He looked like he was growing, but he was making less money than he did when he was working as a massage therapist himself. And this is a trap that many business owners, they chase revenue, but they don't focus on overhead. Knowing your numbers is key. You need to know what your revenue is, what's your cost of sales, what's your direct expenses, what's your overhead, and most importantly, what is your break-even point when it comes to your business. Okay? So this will help you assess how much you actually keep, because until you know these numbers, you're basically flying blind. And step number 2, watch your margins. High revenue means nothing if your margins are laser thin. So your gross profit is revenue minus cost of sales. So your net profit is what is left after everything is paid. Okay, so I'll give you a quick rule of thumb of when I look at business financials. I look at a lot of business financial as a previous commercial banker and a M&A strategist. In my opinion, if your gross margin is under 40%, you got a pricing or a production problem. And if your net margin is less than 10%, then you got a spending problem. One of my clients was paying for a big office space, which they didn't even need. And he never noticed why he never had money in his bank account. He was never able to get ahead. We started looking into it and see why does he need a bigger office when most of his clients are dealing with him over phone. Most of the clients don't even come to the office. It's a good way to showcase your business and feel successful. But on the other hand, you need to really watch those costs, because the business owner has to work way more harder to earn a profit after paying this overhead. So that's the thing. Margins do not just happen. They have to be built by discipline. If you don't watch the margins, you are just going to be spinning your wheels as you take on more contracts and more customers and probably even more headaches while you're making less than you did in your early days of business. Now, step number 3, when you're building your business, you got to think like a buyer. I would say every business owner need to understand the enterprise value of their business. That's how most business owners create real wealth. So this way, if someone wanted to buy your business today, you know what your enterprise value is, and you're working towards building that valuation even higher. For example, a company with just 500,000 could be worth more than a business with $2 million of revenue if they have better profit margin. Because profit means stability. It means that the business can scale and also has less risk. So here's a question that you need to ask. If you could step away from your business for say 30 days, would it still be profitable? If no, then you have to do some work in your business, because what matters is profit someone else can rely on, not just revenue that people brag about. And now step number 4, profit creates options. Profit allows you to grow. Profit gives you breathing room, options, and freedom. It lets you invest, hire, delegate, or even sell your business. It lets you take vacations without panicking about the business collapsing. When I bought my first company, I noticed that revenue was climbing, but the profit was shrinking. And that's when we moved to a profit-first model. We set aside profits before paying anything. And I would highly encourage you to look at a profit-first model when it comes to managing your business finances. And so that way you're getting more profit at the end of the day. And as the profit grows, even the business value continues to grow. And the truth is, once you make those changes, you end up with more cash in the bank, more peace of mind, and you'll pick and choose the customers or the clients and the contracts that will make you profit. You will start looking at the right places. You will start serving the right customers. And that becomes very crucial, because many business owners run after busyness. They try to fill up their calendar. They try to get as many jobs as possible, which I agree in certain ways. You need to keep the staff paid. You need to keep things going. But when it comes to really making profit, you need to find a blend of finding high-paying customers or customers that provide you better margin. So this way, you're able to get real wealth from your business. So start with profit, measure it, manage it, and protect it. And if you're curious on how to increase your business value without working more hours, that's exactly what I'll be covering in my next video. So I'll see you there.